Good morning, students. Today I'll be explaining you a poem titled The Road Not Taken. It is a very famous poem by the poet Robert Frost. Before starting the poem, we are given this little introduction about this poem. Let's read it and let's see what it says. This well known poem is about making choices and the choices that shape us. So, this poem is about making choices. We make choices in our life, we make certain choices. For example, being a student, just an example, being a student, your exams are approaching, whether you choose to study or not, and the choices that shape us. If you study well, you'll get good grades. If you do not study well, your grades will suffer. So we make certain choices and these choices shape us. Basically what the poet means to say is that we make certain choices in our lives and these choices shape our future. Robert Frost is an American poet who writes simply but insightfully about common, ordinary experiences. So they say that Robert Frost, he is an American poet and he writes simple poems but insightfully. Insightful means having deep understanding of something. Now, what he has deep understanding about? The common and ordinary experiences. He writes very insightfully about the common and ordinary experiences, the experiences that even a common human being, even a common person uh, has in his or her life. Okay, so let's begin this poem. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So now the poet says, two roads diverged in a yellow wood. The poet is standing on a road. Okay, there's a road. The poet is standing over here. Okay, and he says two roads diverged. This road further diverged into two. So he says two roads two roads diverged in yellow woods. Wood is a forest or a jungle. So he says these two roads they diverged. Division हो रही है, ठीक है, into yellow woods. यहाँ से आगे जाकर दोनों sides पर woods हैं, forest है, that is jungle. And sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. So now the poet says, sorry, I could not travel both because he says, I cannot travel both the roads and be one traveler. Because the poet is one traveler, he is one person, so he cannot travel both the roads at the same time. And he says, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could. He says, long I stood. The poet stood at this position for a long period of time, and he says, and looked down one as far as I could. He looked at one of this road, okay? He looked at one road as far as he could. As far as his eyes could see, he was looking at this road to where it bent in the undergrowth. Now he could see this road till a point from where it curved. He could see till here, ठीक है, to where it bent. वो सिर्फ वहां तक देख सकता था जहां से रोड आके बेंट करती थी. And beyond this position, he cannot see anything. He says bent in undergrowth. Undergrowth is bushes. Bushes or the plants that grow under the tree or around the tree. Okay, the second stanza, and he says, then took the other just as fair and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. He says, then took the other just as fair. He says that he chose the other road just as fair. Just as fair means which was equally inviting. This road was equally inviting. And then he says, and having perhaps the better claim. So he says the poet, he felt more inclined towards this road. And he says, and having perhaps the better claim, he thought he was more attracted to this road and he thought that it will be better for him to choose this road. Then he says, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Why he chose this road, why he was attracted to it? Because it was grassy, a lot of grass was there on this road. And then he says it was wanted wear. Wanted wear means it was less worn out. Worn out means कम पुरानी थी वो, ठीक है, which means it was less traveled by the people. And then he says, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now the poet, he was adventurous in nature, and being adventurous, the poet, he was tempted to choose this road as it seemed to be less traveled by the people, as I told you earlier. ठीक है. And then he says why he chose this road, because he felt that a good number of people had walked over the other road too. The other road. Okay, so now the third stanza. Okay, before starting the third stanza, students, will be doing some poetic devices. In the when you were in 8th standard, I told you we read that poem, The Palanquin Bearers. In that poem, I told you about metaphors and similes, right? So those were the poetic devices, and I told you when you will be in 9th standard, we'll be learning some more poetic devices. So we'll begin with the new poetic device, that is alliteration. So alliteration is the repetition of consonant sound in closely connected words. Bache, what is it? It is the repetition. Repetition means when something repeats. And what it repeats? The consonant sound. See, bache, A, E, I, O, U. These are the vowel sounds, and all the alphabets apart from these are the consonants. Okay, B, C, D, F, H, they are the consonants. Okay, so it is the repetition of consonant sounds, the consonant sounds that repeat, where it repeats, in closely connected words. The words that are close to each other, this consonant sound repeats in them. Let's have an example. Look here. Wanted where. Okay, I told you it is the consonant sound. So consonant sound will be w, and it comes initially. It is the first word of the the first alphabet of the word. Okay, so it is wanted where. ठीक है, consonant sound आ गई यहाँ पर. And बच्चे, you have to see के ऐसा नहीं है कि if there is w तो देख लिया alliteration होगी. No, you'll have to go by the sound. This says were. ठीक है, wanted were, where were. ठीक है, so it is the consonant sound and it repeats. It repeats in closely connected words. These words are close to each other. ठीक है, a consonant sound which repeats in closely connected words. So this is alliteration. Okay. Now the third stanza. He says, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Now the poet says, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. But trodden means, trodden is the past participle of tread. Tread means to take steps while walking. So the poet says, in the morning, when the poet was about to start his journey, he realized that no step, no human being has walked over both these roads. In the morning, he realizes this. So now he says, बच्चे what happened, देखो क्या होता है कि जब रोड के ऊपर ना there are some dried leaves, when you walk over those leaves तो those leaves get crushed. ठीक है, but what he finds is these leaves were uncrushed. So he concludes that no travelers have traveled both these roads. And then he says, oh, I kept the first for another day. For another day, for the second day also, he stuck with his first choice. The road that he decided the previous day that he'll travel by that road, the second day also he says he will go by that choice only. He will travel by the same road. And then he says, yet knowing how way leads on to way. How way leads on to way means how one decision, when you take one decision in life, how it leads to another choice. For example, if you have opted for in class 11 bache, you will have to choose a stream, medical, non-medical, commerce, arts, and you'll have to choose that stream. So suppose, just take an example, you have opted for non-medical. Okay, now in non-medical you began to study, but after a point, after 4 to 5 months, you find that non-medical is very difficult, and now but you cannot reverse that choice. Now you have chosen that stream, आपको वही पढ़नी पड़ेगी. So you cannot reverse that choice. And now after doing non-medical, when you after your 12th standard, because you opted for non-medical, you will be thinking to go for engineering. ठीक है, ऐसे आप आगे चॉइस करोगे. So same way he says one, how way leads to way. कैसे एक चॉइस जो है, जो एक रास्ता है, वो हमें दूसरे रास्ते की तरफ लेकर जाता है. ठीक है, एंड ही सेज जैसे कि आपने नॉन मेडिकल ले लिया, ठीक है, यू हैव ऑप्टेड फॉर द नॉन मेडिकल, एंड आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन, सॉरी, आफ्टर 12th स्टैंडर्ड यू विल थिंक टू ऑप्ट फॉर इंजीनियरिंग और सम अदर फील्ड. हाउ वन चॉइस लीड्स टू द अदर. एंड ही सेज आई डाउटेड इफ आई शुड एवर कम बैक. नाउ जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि 11th क्लास में नॉन मेडिकल ले लिया है, बट अगर डिफिकल्ट लग रहा है तो आपको अब आप श्योर नहीं हो कि आप उस चॉइस को रिवर्स कर पाओगे या नहीं, यूजुअली नहीं कर पाओगे. ठीक है, तो he says he doubted whether the choice he has made, whether he will be able to revise that choice again or not. क्या वो अपना डिसीजन कभी लाइफ में चेंज कर पाएगा या नहीं. He doubted about that. All right. Now again the poetic devices. Let's find again in this stanza you'll find alliteration. As I told you, alliteration is the repetition of consonant sound in closely connected words. So here look, first, for, fur, fur. Okay, so there is alliteration. All right, so now the fourth stanza, the poet says, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So now the poet says कि साय बचे मीन्स के जैसे हम एक सुख का सांस हम कहते हैं ना कि दुख की आह या सुख का सांस, इट इज लाइक that is a sigh. So the poet says, I shall be telling with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Hence means later. So he says कि somewhere ages and ages, many years later, he will be telling with a sigh, with a regret, एक पछतावे के साथ he will be telling. What he will be telling? Two roads diverged in wood. ठीक है, there were two roads that diverged into woods, and I took the one less traveled by. He says कि many years later he will be telling it with a regret that there were two roads that diverged into woods and he took the one less traveled by. He chose the one which was less traveled by the people, and that has made all the difference. And he says कि this choice that he made, that has made all the difference in his life. Because of this choice, his life is what it is today. Life में जो भी situations हैं at present, it is because of the choice that he made many years ago. So another poetic device in this chapter, in this poem is symbolism. Okay, so you have learned two poetic devices. One is alliteration, one is symbolism. Which is symbolism is a poetic device. It means कि जब एक चीज किसी दूसरी चीज के लिए stand करती है, when one thing stands for the other, it means it symbolizes it. For example, dove is a symbol of peace. ठीक है, the colors in our national flag, our tricolor have our national flag has three colors. The first one is saffron, and saffron stands for courage or sacrifice. Then the second color is white. White is a symbol of truth or purity. Then the third color is green, and it is a symbol of growth and prosperity. जब एक चीज किसी दूसरी चीज को दर्शाए, that is symbolism. ठीक है, so in this poem the two roads, they are symbolic. ठीक है, what do they symbolize? The difficult times in the life, the difficult choices that the poet has to make. So these two roads stand for the difficult choices, the difficulties that are faced by the difficulties that are faced by the poet. So, with this, we come to an end of this poem. I hope you all have understood it. Thank you.